in this city. Everyone has a secret.
Imagine a small town, blanketed in snow. The year is 1949. Christmas is in the air, but so is a chilling sense of dread. This is the world of a movie that exists only in our minds, a forgotten classic of post-war noir. The story begins in a Rockwellsk town, where the annual Christmas Eve choir is a beloved tradition. Like this year, something is terribly wrong. The choir members, all men who served together in the war, are disappearing. One by one, they fall victim to what the local sheriff dismisses as tragic accidents. A slip on an icy road, a hunting mishap, a faulty furnace. The town mourns, the snow falls, and the choir grows smaller. Our guide through this darkening winter is a man named Jack Riley. He's an ex-cop from the big city, returned home to escape the ghosts of his past. He's weary, cynical, and carries the weight of the war in his tired eyes. Jack knew these men. He sees the pattern. Nobody else wants to. These aren't accidents. They're murders. As Jack begins to investigate, he's met with a wall of silence. The townsfolk, desperate to preserve their idyllic Christmas spirit, resent his questions. The sheriff warns him to stay out of it. Even the remaining choir members, their faces etched with a fear they won't name, refuse to talk. They just practice their carols, their voices growing fainter, more desperate, as their numbers dwindle. Jack pieces together the fragments. He discovers that these men weren't just neighbors. They were a unit in the war. They shared something more than a foxhole. They shared a secret. A dark secret from a forgotten battlefield in Europe. Something they swore an oath to take to their graves. An oath that is now being fulfilled, quite literally. The visual style of our phantom film is pure noir. We see stark, high contrast, black and white. Long, deep shadows stretch across the snow-covered streets, making the Christmas lights seem less like beacons of hope and more like interrogators' lamps. The camera would linger on Jack's face, half-lit in a smoke-filled diner, the steam from his coffee swirling like a phantom. We'd see close-ups of nervous hands, of eyes darting in fear, of a single, dark figure watching from a distance as the choir practices in the frosty church hall. The sound design is crucial. The cheerful sound of Christmas carols would be constantly undercut by a sense of unease. The theme of the film would be the sins that echo longer than the carols. It's about the idea that you can't just come home from war and pretend nothing happened. The past doesn't stay buried, not even under a blanket of Christmas snow. Jack's investigation leads him down a rabbit hole of wartime trauma and buried guilt. He learns about a moment during the war, a terrible choice made in the chaos of battle. A choice that saved their lives but damned their souls. And now, someone is acting as judge, jury, and executioner, silencing the witnesses one by one. The tension builds as Christmas Eve approaches. The church, once a symbol of sanctuary, now feels like a trap. They have to perform. The whole town will be watching. Jack knows the killer will strike again, perhaps during the performance itself, the final, dramatic act of this grim play. He races against the clock, trying to uncover the killer's identity before the last carol is sung. Is it a vengeful family member of a fallen soldier? An outsider who learned the secret? Or is it one of the choir members themselves, driven mad by guilt, trying to erase the memory of their shared sin? And here, in the final act, comes the twist that elevates this from a simple mystery to a haunting tragedy. The killer isn't an outsider. It isn't even one of the men he's been suspecting. The killer has been erasing everyone who knows the secret, except for one. Because that one person was meant to suffer the most. To live with the memory, alone. Jack stares into the mirror-like reflection of a dark church window. He sees his own haunted face. And he remembers. He wasn't just an ex-cop investigating a crime. He was there, in the war. In that unit. He was part of that choir. He took that same oath. The killer is a ghost from his past. Someone he thought was long dead, who has returned to methodically strip away every person who shared his sin, leaving Jack isolated in a prison of his own memory. The final confrontation isn't about stopping a murder. It's about confronting his own past. The choir of dead men was his choir. And he's the last one left to sing their sorrowful song. This would end, not with a bang, but with a chilling silence. Jack, alone in the snow-filled town square as the church bells ring out. A living ghost in a town that just wants to celebrate Christmas. This story reminds us that even in the brightest of seasons, the darkest shadows can linger. What do you think? What would you do? Would you have stopped at nothing to make him suffer? Or go down this route and do absolutely nothing? Let me know in the comments. As we know, the story's over. The silence isn't.